God afresh. And thank God, I think I heard from the Lord very instantaneously, and I told her, look, after you do everything we have written there, you've got to realize you can't judge yourself harshly. They also have a personal responsibility. Do everything you know, leave the rest to God. Now, this is experiential learning. It is not academic. You can't get it from any book. So if I were you, I would deliberately join the cruise, go through the 12 months journey, and even choose to take 2 other groups for 2 or 3 more years. Why? Because you master what you teach. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you with humility and with integrity. If you call me 3 a.m. and told me in 2 minutes, you want me to teach the 12 principles of parenting in my book, I'll teach for 2.5 hours non-stop. Am I a genius? No. Why would I do that? I've taught the topic in excess of 150 times. You master what you teach. Now, we are all listening to what I'm saying, but believe me, I'm listening the most. After this, if I asked you what I was saying, you might remember 2%. But if you pick me here and take me to another meeting, I might repeat everything verbatim. You master what you teach. Does that make sense? Yes. So I would choose to go through the season 1 program, for example, those who are graduating this April. I'll choose deliberately to take another group and another group, not for their sake, but first for my sake, because it puts you on your toes. What am I talking about? Have a growth plan. And I suggest after this meeting, please make a phone call to your accountability partner. Share with them your growth plan. Why? A shared commitment is a strong commitment. In fact, I'll take one moment, just one moment, and give you a chance to look at your neighbor. From just what I have shared up to now, tell them the action points you're going to take for your personal growth and development. Take a moment, talk to them. Just tell them, what are you going to do? All right, fair enough. How many in this live audience believe with all their heart that it's possible to commit for your personal growth and development 2 hours every month for 12 months with no excuse of traffic jam, no excuse of the rains, the same way you don't take that as an excuse for not eating? How many will commit for their mental growth to do that every single month for 2 hours? How many can make such a commitment? Hands down. How many believe it will make a difference in your life? Do you believe that? Yes. There are some testimonies I've received here of people who confessed to me there was a difference in their marriage because of this intervention. There are people who told me there was a difference in their wallet because of this ministry. There are people who told me there was a difference in their health, and some of them I can even see it with my eyes. Change is internal. Of course, the second thing about success, focus on incremental changes. Focus on incremental changes. There are no quantum leaps for growth, for success. Believe it. You only enjoy and feel fulfilled following a long, steady effort, conscientious effort. Any shortcut to the top is short-lived. The whole thing, which is like a cancer in Nairobi, get-rich-quick schemes. I tell you today, this is idolatry that withers and bitters and robs the nobility of human life. I will tell you this very respectfully tonight. If you become a victim of every get-rich-quick scheme, you'll eventually be broke and you'll miss the things that you're trying to chase. When you stop chasing the wrong things, you begin to attract the right things. You've got to focus on incremental changes, the cumulative, infinitesimal changes. They may not be looking visible to the naked eye, but eventually, change is not what is visible, but it's what happens on your inside that gets reflected on the outside. And that's why you've got to deliberately feed yourself emotionally, spiritually, mentally, just like you do physical exercises, and by the same note, how you work on the right nutrients. Change is not going to be easy, but it's going to be possible. Change is difficult at the beginning, messy in the middle, but gorgeous at the end. True, irreversible, permanent change, I repeat, must be incremental and internal. Is that okay? Let me go to the second item of our discussion tonight. Why reposition yourself? Why reposition yourself? Now, we reposition ourselves fundamentally through personal branding. So the real question we need to deal with tonight, why personal branding? And remember, while self-identity is what you think about yourself, personal branding is what others think about you, your reputation out there. Personal branding is what others say about you when you're not in the room. And maybe you can play a game with 3 of your friends and tell them to candidly and honestly tell you what they think about you. Most of them will not be honest. So come up with a creative way, very creative way, in such a manner you can't know who said what. And just try to use that and gauge. What do people think about me? Because I'll tell you this, even if you're doing relatively well and you're in this place, personal branding will help you exploit your capacity. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, precious friends, brothers and sisters, I want to share with you some 7 good reasons why you need to be deliberate with your personal brand. Number 1, personal branding will boost your self-confidence. You know, when you know you have something important to offer, when you know you have something significant to offer, when you know you're needed, when you know you're valued, naturally, your self-esteem soars. It goes up. Your confidence level begins to go up. Why personal branding? Number 2, you stand out. You stand out. You become noticed. You become increasingly visible. You become competitive. We are hardwired to notice that which is different. You will notice someone dressed in white in a sea of black clothing. Does that make sense? When you are similar with everyone else in the market, your customers are likely to bypass you. So you leverage on your uniqueness. When you're deliberate about personal branding, you begin to differentiate yourself out of the crowds. For how long shall you be part of the crowd? Personal branding is the answer. Number 3, why personal branding? You attract people. You see, you can't force people to like you. You can't demand people to like you. You see, people's perception is their reality. It may not be your reality, but that's their reality. Don't even complain, why are they not calling you of late? If somebody is not calling you, he's saying it loudly, you are adding no value to them. The moment you begin adding value to them, they'll start calling you. In fact, if you call someone and they ignore your call 2, 3, 4 times, I think the message is clear. What's your value? Because basically speaking, people will walk with you when they sense your destinies crisscross. They are inextricably bound to each other. My own experience shows that people are willing to help you if you are clear with what you want in life. But no one is willing to come and sort your mess, to come and help you figure out what you want in this life. In fact, I don't know another place apart from Sense 101 Life Club where someone goes out of his way in this country to truly help you find out who you are. In fact, as you go back to Dallas, let them know. We have actually a program here we do called Purpose-Driven Men, just to help the gentlemen discover who they are. And we couldn't mix them with women so that they don't feel scratched in their spirits. You know, here we do hard coaching. And then we have an equivalent one for women called 7C Women. And for those of you who are not Sense 11 members, we are doing something called 12 hours of transformation. We will not allow any Sense 11 member to come there. Sense 11 members have to pay a premium price, 20K, because they know the need for growth. This is for your brother, your sister, the Subua guy, who is always depending on your pocket. To free you, we have a program for them. 12 hours of transformation, 21st of July. Please pick the details at the info desk. What I'm saying is this. When people realize you're adding value to them, they will naturally be attracted to you. People, honestly speaking, don't love you. Oh, that's a hard saying. If you have 3 friends, you're very, very, very lucky. You're doing exceptionally well. People love what you do. People are not attracted to Kenyaju Nganga. This is any other person. What is attracting them here is what I'm offering. It's the brand Kenyaju, not the person Kenyaju. So people are attracted to the brand, not to the person. So ask yourself, what value are you adding that will start attracting people along your way? Why personal branding? Number 4. Personal branding helps you to concentrate, or rather to focus your efforts. You avoid secondary activity. You distinguish between what is good and what is best. Personal branding, in other words, help you know what is on brand and what is off brand for you. And you're able to focus. Number 5. Personal branding attracts success. You stop pursuing success. Success begins to pursue you. And this is how it works. You see, you're paid for your individuality. When you embed in the consciousness of your target market repeatedly that you're the service provider of choice, people tend to pay a premium price for you. So eventually, you work less for more. Let me break it down for you. You're willing to pay more for a known MC than one who is not known. Does that make sense? You're willing to pay more for a cup of coffee in Java, a known brand, than a cup of coffee in a restaurant that is not known by anyone else, except your immediate neighbor. That's the reality about life. You're willing to pay more for that which is known. You're willing to pay more for a known athlete. They pay more to Cristiano Ronaldo, to Julius Yegon. So they end up working less because they are not looking for people. People are looking for their number. People are looking for them to call them. You see, you were never designed to pursue riches. Riches were supposed to be a byproduct of your purpose. You're supposed to pursue meaning and purpose. And these other things should follow. Number 6, personal branding helps your life be fulfilled. Why? Because you align who you are with what you do. So what you do is what you love, and what you love is what you do. So you earn from what you love and what you do. You see, a lot of people don't like Monday mornings. And the primary reason is because they are waking up to something they don't like doing, but they must. So they are doing something they don't like, but they have to. I don't know any other better definition of slavery other than doing something because you must, but you don't want to do it. In a strict sense, personal branding helps you to stop working and you begin living. Because you no longer work, you're paid for doing what you love. Because your work becomes your life. It's your hobby. So you can end up putting 16 hours a day without knowing. When the average employee works for 8 hours and complains, the person who has identified his brand can work for 16 hours without realizing, because they love what they do. They are fulfilled. They are not coerced into it. I know it. I've experienced it. I would invite any of you to find your place. I wouldn't be doing anything else. In fact, the reason I normally cut short these messages is for your sake, to reach home in time. I'll go on and on and on and on and on, almost endlessly, because I'm living. When you find out what you're supposed to do, you begin enjoying what you're doing. And number 7, why personal branding? You leave a legacy. You leave a mark behind. Your life becomes significant. You lay a strong and firm foundation upon which others can build. Your children don't have to start at the same place where you started. From where I come from, I honestly believe more than any other human factor, the reason President Uhuru Kenyatta rose to the presidency is because he was riding on his father's blood. That was, in my view, the leading human factor. And you realize that that family, perhaps 5 generations later, will ride on that blood. And I believe the grandchildren of Nelson Mandela are riding on that blood. Does that make sense to you? You realize some of the struggles that most of us have in this soul is because who was my father anyway? Who was my mother? I'm the first one in our lineage since Adam to figure out what this means. Nobody before me ever tried to think out, should I be doing personal branding? My grandfather didn't know anywhere beyond his village. So I have to work for the generation behind and the generation ahead. I'm supporting the generation behind me and the generation ahead. No wonder many of us are aging before our time. Because we're only supposed to support the generation ahead. Only. Can we go to number 3? The third item of our discussion tonight. How then do I personal brand? How do I do it? And there are 2 ways I'm going to suggest. But before doing so, let me throw in some thoughts here. Everything that you needed for your purpose is already in you. God has no afterthoughts. There are not some talents and gifts he has kept in the store waiting for you to recollect who you are and correct yourself and then release them. But whether you are where God had intended for you or not is a different story altogether. You've got to be bitter enough with where you are for you to go to the next level. Now, the fastest car as of today is Bugatti Veyron. Can do up to 430 kilometers per hour. Ground speed, that's phenomenal, mind-boggling. If you choose to drive that car 30 kilometers per hour, that doesn't reduce the maker's specs. Someone can take the same car and get the right gear and cruise at over 400 kilometers per hour. Someone can take the same spouse you divorced and make a great marriage out of him or her. Someone can take the same piece of land that you have and the title deed is in your suitcase and have a defining factor of production. Someone can take the same degree you have and become the CEO of the leading corporate in East Africa. Someone can take the same gift that you do have and perform on world stage. But let me digress and say this. Each one of you hearing my voice tonight, you've got the power, you've got the potential, you've got the capacity to perform at world class. Whether you do it or not is not an indication of malfunction from the maker's specs. I know without a shadow of doubt, if I park a car in the garage for too long, it begins to rust. And I ask you, could you be rotting in the parking lot. See, if your car is broken, you need to expose the deformities and the defects, the mechanics, so that it is fixed. At times, that which makes us very insecure and vulnerable, we need to expose it to the manufacturer so that we get fixed, because you can't fix that which you deferred. Poverty is not a problem, it's a result. Obesity is not a problem, it's a result. You've got to be mad enough with your current status quo for you to take a step and realize everyone else is work in progress in the potter's house. You're not alone. For how long shall you feel insecure with your incapacities? Expose them to the Maker tonight. So let me suggest some 2 ways in which you can reposition yourself. The first one is external repositioning. We are human, and we appreciate that which is physical. We appreciate what we see. The reality about human beings, they judge you after what they see. A recent survey by Forbes magazine indicated that men who groom have a 9% chance, higher chance of winning than those who don't, and attractive women have a 4% higher chance of winning. It is true that human beings, even the good book does admit that men and women judge after the outward appearance. The way you dress alone makes people even judge, strange enough, your intelligence level. The way you dress makes people judge how loaded you are. The way you dress makes people judge how confident you are. Does that make sense to you? Your etiquette, decorum, propriety, manners, even the way you eat chicken in a hotel. I know we are hardwired for holding ugali with fingers inside. And it's okay to do it when you're in Meru or Kisumu or Kisii. It's good to adjust sometimes in some meetings. Why did I say that? Where were we? External repositioning. And on a serious note, I think sometimes we spend a lot doing other things and ignoring how we look. And I suggest part of personal branding that we cannot ignore is that people will judge you after your first appearance. And what is true for how you dress is also true for your interventions in the social media. Desist from posting things unless you're 100% sure that's how you want to be identified. Because people never come back to check whether you became definitive. Don't keep telling them you're doing this and by next week they're not sure what you're doing. The second way to reposition yourself, I call it internal repositioning. What is true, we are judged by how we look externally. I must also caution us that that is not our real value. It's our brand value. Our real value is internal. Our brand value is people's perception. So in most cases, even the way you dress is a reflection of an internal condition. The internal reveals how much you respect yourself externally. So the external is a mirror of an internal status. That is why you must invest on yourself. And with a lot of humility, and I say this very reluctantly, if you don't like your weight,